Do you miss Andiamo in MLP?
No, not at all. Literally not even one little bit.
Come on.
He talked about me though on his post.
Yeah. All right, you ready? Should we
by
go?
name.
Should
He
we go
didn't
or
tag me,
let it go for a little longer?
Do you feel like if someone mentions you by name, they should have the balls to at least tag you?
No.
At me.
No.
At me.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, welcome back everybody to another episode of King of the Court. We are your host, Tyler and
Jimmy Miller.
the one and only. He was supposed to be in MLP, but
I got the vid.
he was hanging out with Tyson and Fed too much apparently.
Me and Tyson and Fed, we
In the hot tub together?
yeah, we
Yep.
were super spreaders. Just kidding. Dude, Fed looked better.
All right, welcome back to another episode of King of the Court. We have a lot to go over this episode.
Yeah.
I was just in Kansas.
Kansas City.
Hot, humid, not as hot as last
Were you
year.
in Kansas City, Missouri or Kansas City, Kansas? Where is Kansas City?
I think it's Kansas. I think. Yeah, it's Kansas.
Because there was Overland Park, Kansas, but
Yeah,
isn't
it's
Kansas
Kansas.
City actually in Missouri?
I don't know. Too many questions. All right, but first and foremost, we'd like to give a
Geography.
big
I
shout out
get in trouble for not knowing my geography.
to the title sponsor of this podcast, which is the Pickler. We love the Pickler. Jimmy, tell us about the Pickler really quick.
Yeah, so the Pickler is the #1 indoor pickleball facility, pickleball franchise, pickleball, all things pickleball in the entire world. I mean, in the words of Anna Bright, she said it was the best indoor lighting she's ever played in. Did you
We'll
see
just
that?
go at those words. Yeah, we won't. I think she was trolling a little bit.
I don't think she was. She said she really loved it.
Okay, we'll take her at her word.
Yeah, I mean, there's a quote, and they screenshot that, and now it's going to be blown up and posted on the walls of all the picklers worldwide.
As they should.
Yeah, courts are great. The facilities are great. They're clean. The sound, baffling. They tuck the lights in so there's no shadows. So, I mean, we just saw at MLP when you play outside, there's chance for a lot of shadows.
And the sun is bright.
Yep. And if you're looking to, start your own business, you're looking to do something a little bit different, maybe a side hustle, maybe you're tired of that 9 to 5, maybe you just love pickleball and want to get involved. They have a great franchise program.
Reach out to them. Tell them that the boys at KOTC sent
Yes.
you, and they will hook you up with all the information you need to know.
Or if you're just looking for a place to play indoors, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just for winter. Summer times it can be too hot. There's a lot of times that you just want to play indoors, rain, snow, whatever it is, and you can actually use code KOTC on your membership as well.
Yes, I don't know if it's set up yet, but it should be
Well,
within
it should
the
be.
next
So
1 to 2
the
weeks.
Pickler watches this. So by the time this is released, they should have it set up.
All right, awesome. Thank you for your support and being the title sponsor of this show, The Pickler. Also, big shout out to Stack Athletics. We love them.
Does that stack?
This is Stack also. You almost took it all the way off your head, but then you remembered somebody would say something about it.
That guy. Socks.
That guy. Use code KOTC
like this.
for a discount on the best quality pickleball apparel out there. It's made specifically for pickleball.
By pickleball players,
Yeah.
for pickleball players.
A lot of players are wearing Lulu, Nike, Under Armour, whatever it is, Viore, and those are good clothes. Those are great clothes, but they're not specifically for pickleball.
No, these are made for pickleball. They're made and engineered for the pickleball player's body and their movements that take place when you are playing in a game of pickleball. They've even got like the little pockets so you can hold your balls in the back. I mean, there's just nothing better than Stack, so go check them out. You can actually check them out online at stackathletics.com.
Use code KOTC. It supports us and saves you a bit of money.
Support the pod.
All right, guys, last ad we're going to do for this show. Well, not for this show, but for right now. We've mentioned this a long time, and it has finally come, unfortunately.
This is a long time coming. Pickleball Central.
So you guys have been incredible. You like to save money. You like to support us, and that's awesome. But too many people have been using the code, and so they told us to switch things up. So essentially, we still have the same deal with them, everything like that. But instead of just using code KOTC, you will now use, it's confusing, write it down on the paper. We'll put it in the description. KOTC 0824.
Which is for August of 24.
Yep.
And then next month it'll change to 0924.
Yep.
But right now, KOTC 0824. 0824. Yeah, essentially what happened was our code was too effective in a way. and they just want to track things a little bit better, and they want to be a little bit more purposeful in how they track things. So you guys have been amazing. So honestly, the best thing to do, let's just blow this code out too.
Yep.
And let's just show them how awesome the KOTC fans are. And Pickleball Central. I mean, it's the largest online retailer of pickleball gear.
Yep.
They have the best return policy. They have the best deals. Go get one of those freaking Titan ball machines. Those things are sick. We just did a video on them. Check it out. The new Proton paddles are fire. I mean, they're amazing. You can go buy all your Vulcan balls there, the Gen 2s, which everybody knows and loves, the Vulcan Gen 2. I'll even get one signed for you by Colin Johns himself. So go check them out.
Yes.
Pickleball Central.
Code KOTC 0824 will be the best discount code available on pickleballcentral.com.
Yes.
It may not work on every single item, but for those items it does work on, it will be the best code.
Yeah. Go check it out.
All right, Jimmy.
Tyler Leung.
Did you write an email last week?
I did not, but I read an email. First one I've read in a minute. Let's get into it. Let's just. So we released our pod as this was happening, and we just kind of decided that we didn't really want to go back and do like an emergency pod. Maybe we didn't understand maybe we underestimated. Mm-hmm. You know how much this.
Ever since Tour Wars, we have not done an emergency.
Yeah, and we
pod.
didn't do an emergency pod. I guess I didn't really expect it to carry be as big as it did. So, backpedal. We did talk about Ben and Colin.
Is your alias Colin?
No.
Do you have a burner account?
I do not. I will be straight up and honest. I'm not one of those people that hides behind a fake name online, SCCKS. So, nothing is real. There's another clown. Anyways, so here's the situation. We talked about Ben and Colin playing MLP Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. We talked about them tanking, right? We talked about how people are paying hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to put this event on. People are showing up to see them. PPA has spent all this money showcasing them as the premier men's doubles team. Ben is the premier male player in all of pickleball, and he's earned it. Mm-hmm. But then they decided that they just didn't want to play hard. They didn't love MLP, and it showed on the court. I don't think that is disputable in any way, shape, or form. Right? And I think if Ben and Colin were being very honest with themselves, they would admit that they could have given more of an effort. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, after MLP ends...
Oh, by the way, I can't do this anymore. Somebody got mad at me for wiping the dust or the hair or whatever off the table.
Oh, there is stuff on the table.
Yeah, so don't do that.
Okay, so after MLP ends... So, here's what we're going to do here on KOTC. There's something there. Now it's in my head. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stick to strictly the facts and strictly things that Tyler Leung and I have verified and can see. Okay?
Don't group me in with this.
So, fact number one. After MLP ended, somebody who we'll say is close to Colin, friends with Colin, sent him a text. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, essentially, I'm gonna summarize this. They said essentially, hey, your performance at MLP was a little bit embarrassing. You didn't try. It's a bad look. I know how much you care about growing the sport of pickleball. So just as somebody who cares about you, mm-hmm. that was a bad look. And honestly,
you care about Colin.
I do care about Colin. Yeah, I don't want Colin to die or anything. So they basically said, there's a bad look. That's disappointing. It's pretty disappointing to watch. Mm-hmm. Okay. Colin comes back to this person. And now this is where... I'm sorry, dude. I don't know how else to say it, but this is where he lied. Straight up 100% lied. And we'll get to that.
You're skipping to that part, yeah.
Yeah, but he lied, okay? So Colin comes back to this person and says, thank you. I appreciate your text, which was very nice. However, these are my issues that I have with MLP. Mm-hmm. And Colin compiles a list and sends it. Now, let me just be very, 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 very 100% clear because I have seen this with my own two eyes, 20/20 vision here with contacts. This list was all in one list. Every single number, 1 through 8, was on the exact same. It was such a long text that the text turned into an email or into a document. Mm-hmm. This was not something that this person had taken up pieces over time, put them together, and then sent it off. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is where things are getting convoluted because Colin releases a statement, and we'll get to that, mm-hmm. and says that someone took bits and pieces and then compiled it. No. I saw it with my own two eyes. It was all one email. Okay.
How do you know that wasn't made up or doctored?
Because I saw it was more than, let's just say it's more than a screenshot.
Okay.
So it became a document. So he aired his grievances to this person. Now, again, I don't have any issues with him airing his grievances at all. Zero. Some of the things he said,
I actually stand by a lot of what he said.
some are okay. Some of them were batshit crazy. For example, saying Ben is handicapped by having to play with the bottom tier players. This is a guy that literally has never played team sports in his life, because the number one draft pick always goes to the worst team.
Yeah, but pickleball is the most close to tennis. In tennis, you never have these draft picks.
Okay,
so
but
it's a little bit different.
Okay, but we're not tennis. We don't want to be tennis. You're wearing a hat for a company that says tennis sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're not trying to be tennis. Second thing is he goes off on the scoring system and how dumb it is.
Okay.
Okay, which again, a lot of people don't like rally scoring. So
I don't like it, but for MLP, I do like it.
yes, but he's also wrong in some of the comments he says, because it was 91% of people that reach game point first in according to Zane's email, 91% who reach game point first in traditional scoring win the match, where 89% win it in rally. So it's really minimal.
Okay.
Okay. Second thing is he talks about how it's a team effort, but Ben has to play with terrible partners and terrible women who go 0-9 and they're bottom tier players. He talks about singles, and you've talked about this before, where singles plays such a huge role, but he doesn't think it should be as important as it is. And you've talked about this. You throw players into singles matches who aren't used to playing singles.
Yeah.
Then he says something that I thought was really interesting. He said, players, owners, GMs, and fans are permitted to behave in the worst ways. It's part of the culture. You scream, stare down, finger wag, taunt, cheat. The cheating is weird. And use pretty much any Bush League tactics without any repercussions. It's accepted part of MLB. As someone who values a level of sportsmanship, I hate this part of it. It brings out the worst. People who are normally quarterfinal level suddenly act like tough guy jackasses because they have the supporting cast of another top player. AL's on-court behavior was shameful. So it's not just lower tier players. It's a long list of guilty parties. It makes it unenjoyable. So, again, he is entitled to his opinion. I think that you can have a difference of opinion here. Okay? But let's not pretend that Colin did not literally berate an 18-year-old in Ava Ignatowicz.
Not during the match.
Okay, after the match,
off court.
He acted like a tough guy jackass to a little girl. Okay, and screamed at her and said, enjoy losing in the first round for eternity. Okay. Second thing is, let's not pretend that on the court he didn't go after Julian Arnold.
Okay.
On the court, multiple times.
Okay.
They went after each other. Number 3, the dude is, besides being Ben's brother, the second thing he's probably most famous for are his on-court antics and eye rolls for net cords and things like that. For his on-court behavior and body language.
Okay.
Does that scream great sportsmanship to you? Okay. Moving on. He went off about the venue. He said it was in a remote area of Salt Lake, which again, it was literally 20 minutes from downtown Salt Lake. Was it in like a happening, bustling part? No, but if it was in like downtown, people probably would have complained about how hard it was to get to the venue. And none of these, just to be clear, none of these venues are in the heart of the city. Okay? They're in Kansas City. Where is it actually at, Tyler?
I think you said Overland Park.
Overland Park. Exactly. It's not in Kansas City. It's in Overland Park. This was not in Salt Lake. It was in Kaysville. So, again, he talked about...
LA Open was not in LA.
LA Open was at Los Cab.
Yeah.
Which is like an hour from LA or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he talked about the lighting and things. And again, that's something that is,
It's valid.
It's valid. It's his own complaints. He talked about the court sizes, which, again, I think that was very valid. And then we get to the Vulcan ball. So, the Vulcan ball I would say that the majority of players don't have any issue with it, or if they do, they essentially feel like we all are playing with the same ball.
So what happened with Vulcan is we've talked about this pretty much in depth for quite a bit, but their initial release of their first ball did not go well.
Yeah.
It didn't go well.
It did not.
But this new release of this new ball, the Gen 2, is gone extremely well. And a lot of people are still thinking about the first ball and having issues with that. But there's a new ball. There's been a new ball for the past month and a half, 2 months. And there honestly haven't been hardly any issues at the pro level.
Yeah. And did you know that Colin and Ben had a lot of input on
They did. They're in a group chat with the manufacturer, with people that talk.
They're also on the competition committee or whatever it's called. So they were able to give their input on this ball. Colin at one point or another said he really liked it. Now maybe his thoughts have changed on that and he doesn't love it anymore, but he did like it at one point or the other. Here's the reality of the situation on this, okay? And then we'll move on a little bit. But essentially, this was Colin venting, and everybody has the right to vent and everybody has the right to say things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But this makes it sound like unless things are in the perfect conditions, with the perfect weather, with the perfect ball, with the perfect partner, playing with the number one, playing with the number two player in the world, the perfect lighting, the perfect paddles, all of this, it's not fair for Ben or Colin. And that's what it comes off as, and that's what it sounds like. That Ben essentially and Colin should be able to dictate every single thing. And in all things in life, there's going to happen, right? If you're, here's an example. You're the Buffalo Bills. You build your freaking team around Josh Allen, right? Your running game's a little bit suspect. And then you go and you play and there's 50-mile-per-hour winds and you can't throw the football. Should they cancel that game and wait? Or only play, things happen. This is part of sports, and there's factors and there's circumstances that are out of your control. And essentially it makes him sound like he wants one to play with number two, and we dominate everybody. And if it's close, it's not our fault. It's because of circumstances beyond our control. And that's the problem. Now, here's the other issue with it.
Okay. That's it? You only have one other issue?
Well, no. The issue that I have is I don't even hate this email. I don't hate it at all. I think, like I said, Colin has his right to complain. Okay? One, don't lie and say it was compiled from a bunch of different grievances.
Sure.
Because if you were sending this many multiple texts to somebody, one, you're just a whiny ass, and nobody wants to hang out with that guy. Because that's a lot of freaking messages.
He's a finalist.
That's a lot of messages. And honestly, who has time for friends like that? So just own it and say that. Number two, I'm going to read a direct quote, Tyler. Okay.
From who?
I'm not going to say who.
Okay.
But this is from, or to who, but this is from this same email thread. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And this, I don't feel like this is something that can be taken out of context. I don't feel like this is, it is what it is. But if you received that whole text from Colin, okay, and then following that text, you received this. Send that to top MLP brass and see what they say. That they can't do anything about it, I'm sure. Okay? If you receive that, would you assume that that's giving you permission to forward his grievances on?
Seems like it.
I mean, it seems like it. I don't know how else you would, right? So again, those are the facts that we know. And that was, by the way, that was part of this whole thread. Was what that last line was part of what he sent. Okay. Now there can be a discrepancy on maybe he didn't want all of it sent. Maybe he wanted some of it sent. I don't know, but I don't know how else you would,
not send it,
interpret that. Right. So like I said, I don't have any issue with the letter. It's just gas on the fire. The issue is the effort at MLP to begin with. That's my problem with it, is the effort. And then the lying afterwards. Don't straight up lie after and say, one, it was compiled, two, you didn't give permission. You gave both of those things. He literally gave both of those things. Just own it and say, I was frustrated. I sent it to somebody. I only wanted it to go to MLP because I wanted to express my displeasure about a few things. I didn't expect it to get out. Should it have been leaked? Probably not. Okay. But that's not even the issue here, right? The issue is that he didn't try in a freaking event. And like I said, the email, I don't even care about that. I don't think most people care. I think most people I
think most people do care about it where they shouldn't be caring about it.
Yes. But I think a lot of people actually almost agreed with him. And it helped him in a way. And it created really good discussion. But people that are hung up on the fact that it was like, how did it get out, and that it was a compiled list. I had people coming at me being like, you know, they invaded his privacy and this and that. No, they didn't. I promise you they did not. I've seen it. These are facts. And so at the end of the day, it's like, okay, Colin's got to try, Ben's got to try an MLP, or take a pay cut and don't play MLP because part of your contract states that you're going to play MLP.
Yeah.
So then don't play it and take the pay cut. Right. And there's a million people out there. I mean, Shelby Bates sent out a tweet. I'll tell you this, Shelby Bates was distraught that she didn't get drafted. Right. There's people out there that will take your spot, that wish that they could play it. There's people that are playing for $2,000, $3,000, and you're literally making, Ben has gone on record saying he's making $2.5 million. Colin's got to be making $500,000 to $600,000, and you're complaining about the freaking lighting in a match in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, and so that's the biggest thing for me, and all these people that are like, oh, you don't know, this happened.
So rumors are that MLP was going to suspend them.
Yeah, I heard the rumors
them or something like that.
They might get fined. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I don't know what you can do. I definitely think that hopefully they're talked to. It's not something that's swept under the rug. But then Zane, our boy, Zane Navertil, fires back a response.
Yep.
And it was a very well thought out response.
So I actually still haven't read it to this day, but from what I've heard, it's basically all of Colin's points, but the opposite.
Essentially saying why he likes MLP. Yeah. And he says, you know, a guy
the only thing I'll say is I didn't see this letter from Zane when he was on Frisco Pandas.
Well, yeah, but we also didn't have Colin writing that letter when he was winning too either, right?
When was he winning?
Well, wasn't he on Columbus last year? I guess they didn't win either, but. Or was he on the No, he's on the Ranchers last year.
He was on Smash, wasn't he? Smash. No, he was with Sliders with J-Dub.
J-Dub. That's right. That's right. Anyways, so yeah, remember everyone thought the Sliders should have taken Gabe.
Yeah.
Did they make a mistake?
They actually didn't do well. I mean,
they were fine.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah. Okay, so moving forward.
So Zane's letter, he basically counters all that.
Yeah, he counters, and he says a couple of things. He says, I like the fact that, you know, I get to play with Annalie. I would never get to play with Annalie otherwise. He goes, if I want to watch the number 1 and number 2 player in the world play every championship Sunday, that's what PPA is for.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, he counters that. Essentially says, I'm playing pickleball for a living, making a lot of money.
There's a lot of mixed emotions.
Yeah.
Because I think MLP is so new in how everything is set up right now. And so you have players that love it and you have players that hate it. You have a few that are kind of in the middle. But
and again, it's not the letter. That's the biggest issue that I think you and I have talked about. And I've talked about it with more people than I can count. Nobody is blaming Colin for writing down his grievances and sending an email. Right? And sending a text.
Yeah, I mean, there was one or two where he kind of...
There's a couple things in there where he just went off.
Yeah.
And he comes across as whiny, and he comes across as a little bit of a baby. But he has the right to complain. Mm-hmm. He's a pro player. If you have an issue, what do you do? If you're working a 9 to 5 and you have an issue, you take it up with your boss. You take it up with your employer.
Yeah.
And he took it up with his employer. Right? Or... He had somebody do it and then lied and said, no, I didn't actually do it, but he did.
Yeah.
And so all of you that are hung up and saying that didn't happen, that Colin didn't give permission and that it was a compiled list, I'm just telling you right now, like, believe me or not, I don't really care because this is going to be the end of it, but you were wrong. You were 100% wrong. That is not true. He did. He sent it all in one text and he gave permission to send it to the top brass, whatever that means, at MLP. Maybe top brass means something to some other people.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, it's the effort of MLP. You've got to try. Mm-hmm. If you're going to cash the check, you got to try.
Gotcha.
There's bad teams. Tyler, your team was bad.
That's a bit harsh.
No, you guys were bad, and so were we. In DC,
yes,
we were bad.
We were at the end of the standing. I actually think we are now. We went up to 11, but then we dropped back down to 12.
Yeah, us too, yesterday.
Yeah.
So, but you guys were at the bottom of the standings in DC, so were we. But did you feel like your team was giving effort?
Oh, we were giving a lot of effort.
Yeah. Probably more effort than most because you had to give effort just to even be in contention.
Yeah.
And that's same with us. And so that's all you can expect from them.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on now to the issue at hand, which is actually KC MLP.
Okay, real quick, let's give a big shout out to our sponsor, C&D Pickleball Net. C&D sponsors this podcast.
Yeah.
They're incredible. They were using those nets at Kansas City MLP.
Yeah.
No issues whatsoever. Super quality, super durable. Really good guys.
Yeah.
Best nets out there by far.
And they hold up in the elements. That's the other biggest thing. You want to use them for outdoor nets.
Yep.
Right? They hold up in the elements. If you want to open a facility, if you want to put them in your... We had somebody actually mention that they got them for their church.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, C&D Nets, bestpickleballnets.com.
Yes, bestpickleballnets.com. Use code KOTC to save a little bit of money. It supports us. It saves you money, and you're also getting the best quality net available.
Yeah.
Hands down. All right, moving on. KC MLP.
KC. So, Tyler, you were there.
I was there. This morning I was there.
I heard that the heat was a major factor.
It was. It wasn't as bad as last year. So this time last year, it was PPA MLP.
This is where Brooks Wiley was sitting across the street signing people.
Exactly. Tour Wars.
Was it the same location?
Same location. Yep. It wasn't as hot. It was still humid, but not as humid. I'd say maybe 10 to 15 degrees, maybe not 15, maybe 5 to 10 degrees less hot than it was last year.
Okay.
So better, but still pretty hot. I was talking to some KC people, and they said, we love having the tournament here, but why do you guys come in August?
Yeah, that's interesting. But
they said, why don't you guys come in September, October when it's actually nice?
Yeah, I wonder if there's some method to that madness, or maybe...
By the way, there's a lot of Midwest folks out there that love this show.
Really?
Yeah, really cool.
Midwest is like Canada for us?
Yeah, I guess. But
is the Midwest the Canada of the United States?
I don't know. What does that mean?
I don't know.
No, but really cool people out there. Pickleball is awesome. They got a strong community out there.
Big pickleballers.
Okay, so talk us through. So what else? We have MLP.
Yeah, so MLP, I mean, we'll just kind of go day one, just kind of pick a couple things. So you guys played, let's talk about this match, because you guys played the Hustlers.
Yes.
Hustlers had a really rough Atlanta, and then they had a really good DC. Mm-hmm. And so they're right in the mix. I think they're around 4 or 5.
Yeah, which was a little bit surprising to us, but yeah, they were up there.
Yeah.
At least to begin with.
Yeah. And so I think that the thing with the Hustlers is they have a very, very strong women's team.
Yes. Yeah.
Leia and Jackie, I mean, arguably is probably the best women's team other than any team that Annalie's on.
Yeah, Anna Bright's has maybe lost one match in women's, but yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's a tough women's team. Where they've struggled is with Jack and CJ. Jack has not been... I mean, Jackson is hometown.
Well, also he took a few weeks. Well, he wasn't playing tournaments the past few weeks, so I don't know if he was practicing or not. But he didn't play in the last few weeks.
Yeah. So Jack he moved to Kansas City when he was 12 to train with Mike Wolf for tennis. Mike Wolf is actually the coach of the Hustlers now, and he's actually Leia's singles coach and Fed's singles coach. So they all, he's kind of at his hometown tournament. They play you guys. Their women come out and beat Alex and Callie. And then you and CG. So this has been a revolutionary trade. CG is actually number 1 in the player standings for Kansas City right now.
As of now, yep.
As of now, he's number 1.
Me and him yesterday on Saturday, we were number 1 and number 2.
Yeah. And you're still up there, right? You're what, 6?
I think I'm number 6 or 7. Yeah.
And CG and Alex Trong are like, what, 7-3 in mixed now? 8-3, something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, incredible. So you guys go out and you blast their men's team 25-17. So now it's 1-1. And then you have to play CJ and Jackie. And CJ and Jackie end up getting you.
Yep.
And so now they're sending out Leia and Jack, and you think, okay, they're sending out their number 1. Do you think Jackie and CJ is their number 1 mixed, or Leia and Jack?
Oh,
it should be Leia and Jack, but
I think CJ. I think their record would probably be better. Quite a bit better.
I think it is better too. Yeah. And Alex and Connor beat them 25-12.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as big of that's like 11-1, 11-2 probably in a PPA event.
Yeah.
So they beat them 25-12. You go to the Dream Breaker.
Yeah. I hate Dream Breakers.
I would say on
dreams
paper,
are broken.
On paper, it's interesting because Connor Garnett is the best Dream Breaker player in all of MLP. I really believe that. But then after that, so Connor and Jack, and then CJ's actually pretty good.
CJ's good. Yeah. I'd say he probably goes 50, maybe 60% on his points.
Yeah. But then Leia is better.
She should probably go 70 to 80%.
Yeah. And then Jackie is serviceable. She's fine.
She's probably 40 to 50.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie had a couple points against Caitlin Christian. I was like,
yeah,
geez. And so they end up.
Connor Garnett, I would say he's 80 to 90.
What did he go? 10-2.
10-2, I think.
Sock?
Yeah.
Yeah. 10-2.
Which Sock went 8-2 against Federico when they went to a Dream Breaker.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
Kind of shows you how good Connor is.
Yeah.
And so you guys end up losing 22-20.
Yeah, that was
heartbreaker.
That was my fault. Yeah.
You had it on your paddle, right?
I had 2 match points. One was just too easy for me, and I just missed it. And then the other one was a little bit not as easy, but I still missed it.
Still feel like you should.
And then Callie, I think, had one opportunity, but she wasn't able to convert.
That's right, against Leia, right? Yeah, and then Leia ended up closing it out.
Yep.
So you guys lose that in a Dream Breaker. The other huge one is the battle of the 2 top teams, the Shock and the Flash. Mm-hmm. And the Shock end up coming out in a Dream Breaker, 21-19.
Yep. How about the Squeeze? So initially the Squeeze, they actually took the last place in the league for a brief moment, like one day or so.
Yeah, and the Squeeze come out in day 2.
And they beat the Flash.
3-1.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with MLP is, but this is what's crazy, okay? So Vivian David and Paris Todd win 25-23.
Okay.
And then Fed and Tyson 25-20. And then Paris and Tyson lose 25-23.
Yep.
And then Viv and Fed win 25-21. So it's like you flip-flop any of those and, I mean, the Flash could have won that. If the Flash flip-flop that, they easily force a Dream Breaker.
Had I not choked against the Hustlers, we win that match.
Yeah.
Had we won in the Shock match, we go 3-3. That takes us up to the top 6, maybe even top 5 after this.
Yeah, that would have been 9 points for you guys.
A lot of what ifs.
Yeah, so the Squeeze ended up winning twice yesterday.
Yeah.
They beat the Mad Drops, who the Mad Drops are spiraling with Blaine. Blaine has not won a game in KC.
He did great in Salt Lake, and KC hasn't done.
I would say he did enough in Salt Lake.
Okay.
He didn't win in KC. Now the question is, they can't use Blaine again.
Are you sure? Because we've said this before, and
so they sent out clarification. So if a play,
Corey
actually,
with the Hustlers got mad at me, or told me to get mad at you for that false information.
Okay, so Corey, hi Corey.
He said, "Hey, I listened to your pod. I actually turn it on the TV and watch you guys, and you do me the
Corey Ben Bassett, love that
disrespect of lying to me like that."
He also brings his boys to everything, which is pretty sick. I love that, seeing that he brings them.
Yeah.
Okay, so they sent out this email.
Okay.
And they said if you put, and I guess this is a new thing because we didn't know about it. So if you put a player on injured reserve, which I guess we should have done with DJ, then you must use the sub for at least 2 matches.
What is a match? An event or
an
a
event
match?
for at least 2 events.
Okay.
2 events.
So KC is 1 event and Salt Lake City is one event. So that would be 2.
Beer City did not count as an event.
Okay.
So that means that Blaine, they had to use Blaine for at least 2 events, which was KC and Salt Lake and KC.
Okay.
So technically now they can move on from him.
Is that a new rule or a clarified rule?
Well, I'm not 100% sure.
Like,
Tyler.
did you not do your research?
Well, we didn't know about that rule. And I'm not saying that rule was always in place, but I never saw it before this.
So you got to actually
because
read the
honestly, it would have made perfect sense for us to put DJ on injured reserve, and then we could have picked up a player, Spencer Smith, and used him for more than one tournament. But we were told that we couldn't use Spencer again.
Like you were told that?
Yeah, we were told that once we used Spencer for a tournament.
So that's false information.
For DJ, we could never use Spencer for DJ again.
So did they get in trouble for that? Or?
Well, I think that that's what this injured reserve spot is. We would have had to use the injured reserve spot and put DJ on that. So essentially what's happening is the Mad Drops are playing with 5 players.
Yes, yeah. And that's why I said each team needs 6 players.
Yeah, I mean, expanded rosters we've got to expand rosters.
Okay,
so moving on. So that's big. So then, I mean, there's a lot of great matches. Obviously, the Hustlers end up losing to Arizona, which I think was surprising. The Squeeze keep winning. DC's picked up a couple wins. But then we have a very interesting matchup. Okay.
Talk to us.
We have the St. Louis Shock taking on the
best
Utah
team
Black
out
Diamonds. There. Okay, so the Shock are number 1. They're the Shock. They actually just passed the Flash in the standings.
Okay.
And we get to women's, and Anna and Kate blast you guys 25-12.
Yeah.
Blast your women. Were there some screams? Were there some come-ons? Were there some...
Yeah, so I mean, give a little background on the Shock. So they're known for spending a lot of money on their players.
Yeah, so Shock spends a lot of money on their players. every time you ask, every interview, every video, everything you see about the Shock, it's about team chemistry, right? They have Anna, who is very fiery and very, I mean, she wears her heart on her sleeve, and she's a high energy player.
Yep.
They have Hayden, who everybody knows Hayden loves to chirp. He loves to talk crap. We've got the Nasty Nelson from Zane. We got him. I mean, he receives orange cards, whatever they're called. He's flipped people off. He told Christian F you. He yelled at Zane.
Yep.
I mean, that's Hayden, right? And Hayden chirps, and he actually plays better when he's like that, and that's his game.
Yeah.
And then you have Tardio, who's not quiet either.
No, he's starting to be more vocal.
He's starting to be more vocal.
Yeah.
Tardio lets out, and they're that high energy team that people love, because that's what people want from MLP. I mean, Colin does not, based on his email, but these guys do. Yep. And a lot of fans do, and they bring that. And they bring that energy, and they have that swag, and they're okay with having, I think that's just who they are, and that's what you expect. I think Kate's fairly quiet, but she let out a couple yells.
She's fiery. She's fiery too. Yeah. She's a tennis player, and she's almost as fiery as Anna is, to be honest.
Yeah. So they end up beating you guys 25-12, the women.
Okay.
And then you play Hayden and Gabe. And Hayden and Gabe beat you 25-15.
Actually, we went out first.
Oh, you went
Men's
first.
went
Okay.
out first.
And were Hayden and Gabe chirping?
I can't remember who went out first. Yes. Yeah, they were chirpy.
Yeah. So they're chirping at you.
Yep.
So now you're down 0-2.
Yep.
And you head into mixed.
Yes. And also, a little more context is we played them last week in Salt Lake City, and we lost 1-3. But there were a couple critical calls that went both ways, not only for us. And me and Callie had one that was a heartbreaker that gave them game point in mixed doubles, 24-23. We got a call reverse that still to this day we don't agree with. But... yeah, so that's a little bit of context there.
Kind of a rough, yeah. And by the way, the Shock lost in Salt Lake to the Flash and then came back and won. But yeah, you and Callie lost 26-24 to the Shock. So you go out and mixed.
Yep, me and Callie versus Anna and Hayden.
Anna and Hayden, and like you said, they had been chirping in women's, they've been chirping in men's. You guys literally had 27 combined points, so they're feeling really good. And very first point of the match, they try to speed up, and you just countered it. You get a point, and we hear Tyler say, "Uh-oh." You let out like an "uh-oh."
Uh-oh.
And then for the rest of the match, I mean, it was. I'll be very, very honest with you. I'm always, but that was as well as I've seen you and Callie play together. Really, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, your counters were ridiculous. Callie was just as steady as it gets.
Yeah.
And essentially, you guys, I mean, it was still close, but you were chirping the entire match.
Yeah. That was probably the most vocal I've ever been in an actual tournament match.
And Hayden obviously was chirping a little bit.
Yep.
The mics didn't pick up Anna saying anything. So
the mics didn't pick up hardly anything. So I went back this morning and I rewatched that match, and you couldn't hear anything from me. Yeah. And then you could also not hear anything from the other team.
So you could hear you when I watched it.
A little bit.
Sure, but
there was a lot more I was saying than you could actually pick up. A lot more.
And so there was a lot of back and forth chirping. So it's 24-21, I believe. And Anna hits a dink, and and honestly, the chirping got in their head. Like, I don't care what they say. They were not playing like their usual selves. They were missing little dinks. It felt like Hayden went a little quiet for a while.
It's interesting when the other team starts doing it back, huh?
So Anna hits a dink. It hits the top of the net. And you say, like,
no hindrance on the uh-oh? Huh.
And if the Shock lose this one, I'm sure they're going to be mad. Yeah, like I said, Hayden's gonna complain about the hinder for sure.
100%.
Thinking that it was going to fall back on their side. And it comes over. And then literally, this is not an exaggeration. You guys play about 15 more points, 15 more shots. And then you guys end up winning the point. And Hayden immediately after that runs over to the ref.
Well, after he drops Mad F, but
runs over to the ref and wants the hindrance. And then obviously the ref said there wasn't a hindrance there. Now, being a member of the Black Bears, Brandon French got called for 2 hindrances in a Dream Breaker.
Yes.
Do you think that was a hindrance?
It was not the same.
No.
It wasn't the same. No.
And do you think that had it been a hindrance, it should have been called right away? They can't retroactively 15 shots later.
Yeah, for sure.
Call it.
It wasn't the same because in Brandon's situation, he was talking directly to.
He did. He called DJ by name.
Yeah, called him by name. He was talking to him, trash talking to him during the point, and it was as the ball was going to DJ.
Yeah.
It wasn't when the ball was coming to him.
Yeah.
In my situation, the ball was on the net. Yeah. It was coming to us, and it wasn't even that loud that it was, it wasn't trash talking or anything like that or anything to distract them necessarily from the play. And then, like you said, they played another 10 to 15 plus balls, and had they won, they wouldn't have said anything. And obviously, since they lost, everyone was wanting to redo the point.
Yeah. And so then he ran over to the ref, and then you guys end up closing it out the next point. And Hayden's pissed. He won't tap paddles.
Doesn't tap my paddle, yep.
Yep. Walks off.
Mm-hmm.
So then you play.
And we're just having a good time because we're expected to lose. We're the worst team on paper, and they're the best team on paper. And so us going 2-2 with them is, that's pretty cool.
So and then you play the next mixed match, and Alex and Connor just destroy Gabe and Kate. Yeah. 25-15.
Yep.
So now it goes to a Dream Breaker. They end up beating you in a Dream Breaker.
Yep.
But again, you guys weren't expected to even be in this. You had lost the first 2-0-2.
Hey, we got a point for that, and I think everyone on the team was happy with the performance.
Yeah, and so after the match, what did Anna say to you?
So we all tap paddles. I talked to them, and actually their owners were very nice to me, even though they were being very vocal during the match.
So Ross and Big Rich Chaffetz was there. Ross Chaffetz.
Yeah.
And they're passionate.
They're very vocal.
And they're the guys that you want, honestly, owning a team because they're passionate and they're rich. Let's just call it what it is. They're very, very wealthy, and they sink their money behind their team. Mm-hmm. So there's probably, they're probably some of the best owners to play for.
Yeah, yeah. And so they came up to me. They said, that was so much fun. They said, you're playing incredible, stuff like that. Talked to them for
You had a tweener winner.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And then I was talking to Hayden afterwards a little bit. He was cool. And Anna was over there right next to him. And I was like, hey, we're doing good. Like, we're having close matches. And Anna says, you guys got 15 points in men's doubles. I wouldn't say that's close. And I look at her and I said, well, we beat you in mixed doubles. And then she just stormed off. And then that was the last I heard. And then a bunch of people came up to me afterwards and said, like, what happened? And they said that Anna, as she was leaving, said, I hate Tyler, or I'm going to end his life, or something to that effect.
End his life?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I didn't want to say the K word, but that's what people were telling me. And I think she was just caught up in the heat of the moment. But she was not happy. But this goes back to my whole question on MLP. What is MLP? Is it a trash talking? Is it high energy? Is it different than PPA? Do we want pickleball to be like this? Like, that is the center question that I'm focusing on. And obviously Colin does not like that. Anna Bright likes it. However, when you do it back to Anna and her team, they don't like it.
Well, this is my thing with it, is that team is swaggy. That team is full of energy. That team is full of confidence. You have one of the biggest trash talkers in all of pickleball.
Exactly, but when you do it back to them,
that's what I'm saying. They can't take it. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
And I like it. I love it. I love who the Shock are, honestly. Like, Hayden is a very good friend. Gabe is a very good friend.
Yeah. I like him. I even like Anna still.
Yeah, I love who the Shock are.
Even though she doesn't like me, supposedly.
But when it comes back to you, and look, dude, we've all been in those situations, right? If you have played sports, there's always that dude that doesn't stop talking. Yeah. And when they don't stop talking and they're kicking your ass, it's the most helpless feeling in the world. and that's probably how it felt, right? Yeah. Like, you started chirping back at them, and then you're also kicking their ass at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's a helpless feeling.
Yeah.
Because you want to shut them up so bad, but if you go too far at this end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Then it starts to affect your performance.
I was relentless. I was nonstop.
Yeah.
That was the most vocal. Everyone came up to me afterwards and said, you were on one. Like, I've never seen you that way. Most people liked it. They thought it was funny. They thought it was good. They liked the energy. Like you said, they said, I've never seen you play that way. And
you played great. And so, it's just a really interesting you know, I mean, do you want it or you don't want it? But at the end of the day, you can't bring that, and you can't bring that energy, and you can't be that team and not expect it to come back to you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've seen just another MLP thing we've seen a lot of is Georgia this whole season has literally been turning and screaming at the net and screaming, and that's fine. Like, I don't have any issue with it.
But then I read a comment, I can't remember where, maybe the Discord, but somebody was talking about the Hayden situation where he got nastied, him and Zane.
Yeah.
And they're all like, it's all fake because Hayden went on Zane's podcast and they're just joking about it. And I get, you're kind of more like, do all you want and then leave it on the court. But for me and other people, they're like, that's fake. Like, it's just a show. It's not real emotion. It's not raw. And so that's where I'm torn between the two.
I think it's real. I 100% think it's real. I mean, Hayden was pissed.
Yeah, but if you're he was mad.
but what happens is Hayden, and I think this actually shows a level of maturity, to be honest with you, for a kid that's only 18.
Sure.
Is that he doesn't take it with him. Yeah. And he's able to kind of, you know, walk away and not be fuming, and that kind of, I mean,
we crossed paths like when we were switching sides, and I like kind of like give him a tap on the shoulder or something like that. He looked at me, he said, "Don't touch me."
Yeah, like yeah. I mean, I really think that he has a level of maturity to be able to do that, but a lot of players can't.
And then I was talking to Ann. I asked Ann a question during the next match, and Hayden looks at her. He says, "Don't talk to him."
Yeah. See, I mean, and Hayden's funny. Like I mean, like I said, I think that Hayden and Brandon French is another one where, like, Hayden's a very, very good player.
Yeah.
But when Hayden is chirping, it usually means he's always chirping. But when he's really chirping, it means
he's not chirping when he's losing.
Okay, well, it usually means he's on.
Yeah.
And he elevates his game. Brandon French, same thing. When Brandon French is chirping, he's a better player. So I don't know. I find it really interesting because.
Then what's the level of trash talk? Like you can just do these.
Question.
Come on, you can get personal. You can get real personal.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the next question.
Real
right?
personal.
And I think if you start to get personal, then that's when maybe people aren't going to leave it on the court, right?
Yeah.
That's when it's going to spill over. But there are players that don't leave it on the court, and that's where I mean, we just talked about it earlier. The Colin Ava thing. Ava was saying stuff on the court, and then after the match, Colin went after her.
But yeah, I mean, the stuff she was saying was so minimal.
Yes, I agree. But what I guess my point is like, where is that line? And like I said, I think it does show maturity.
I think it's a slippery slope. Personally, myself, I actually don't like it. It's entertaining to watch. But
very entertaining to watch.
I've said this 1,000 times. I'll rarely start it myself. But if people start it, I will never back down from it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I like I said, I think that if you can separate it like Hayden can, I don't have any issue with it, and I don't feel like he's ever personal. He just says some, he'll
say stuff to try to get under your skin.
Yeah,
but it's weird trying to trash talk when you're also down. Like they were down, I think 20-24, and I missed a shot. He said, "Oh, you're tight, huh?"
Yeah. Well, it's hard to trash talk when you're down too. Like I mean, again, you look like an idiot when you're trash talking when you're losing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even worse. The only person that I know that does that is Jill.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, she does.
Yeah.
She does. She literally walks to the net and, like, will stare you down and, like, get in your face when she's down.
I've never understood that. There's some other players that do that, but I've never understood that.
It's the craziest thing. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm good with it. I do think that there's a line, but I think it makes it exciting.
What's the line? When you start talking about their family?
I'll let you know when I see it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen anyone cross yet. I haven't seen anybody, talking about families or talking about, when somebody starts doing that, then that's probably too far.
Okay.
I mean, when we played the Breakers in Salt Lake, right? Like, Jill was chirping a lot, right? Jill was chirping big time. And, I never say anything on the sidelines until a player like starts saying stuff to the sidelines. Does that make sense? Because, dude, I don't play. I'm not a player. Contrary to popular belief, some people like to call me out.
Yeah.
I know my role. I know who I am. I am not a player. Okay. And so but there's a couple times where players will turn to our sideline. Mo did it.
Did he look at you and yell the alphabet?
No, we'll talk about that in a minute. Jill did it. Right. And so as soon as she started,
have you talked to her ever?
Never. She didn't.
You've never talked to her?
No. She pretends I don't. She doesn't know who I am. I don't exist. But I have talked to K-Dub, and she's super nice.
Yeah.
So anyways, after she turned to our sidelines and yelled something in Salt Lake, and then we ended up beating her in women's.
Yeah.
The only thing that I said, Jill, you're going to get your wife fired. Mm-hmm. Right? You better step it up. You're going to get your wife fired.
Yeah.
You know?
The only thing, I mean, once again, going back to Colin's letter, why is this attitude not the same on the PPA side?
I mean, there's some people that bring it. Hayden's the same.
Not nearly as much.
I mean,
not
he'll
nearly
chirp.
as
Him
much.
and Matt Wright, we'll get into it.
Not nearly as much.
Yeah, but I think it's the culture that MLP's created. There's a lot of weird things in MLP.
Yeah.
Like there's one thing that I hate about MLP, literally bothers the out of me. And that's the switching sides.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
the entire benches.
yes, with the benches. Yeah.
With the benches.
Yeah.
Where the entire switching sides at 13 is fine.
Yeah.
But where the whole benches switch
Yeah.
is the dumbest thing ever. Like it's literally probably the worst thing in any sport.
Yeah.
Like stop. You can
I
stay on the
literally
same
got
side.
up and moved maybe 2 feet
Yeah.
to the other bench.
It is so dumb.
Yeah.
Like I can't even tell you how stupid it is.
Yeah.
And they need to stop.
Yeah.
You can coach your team. You don't have to switch. Like it is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate that more than anything.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
Okay. Another question. Jerseys, uniform.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? Should every single player be in the jersey, be in the team uniform?
Yeah, for sure.
So somebody can't go wear a different color shirt or a different brand of shirt?
No, I think that you should have conforming team uniforms.
So what happens if somebody does that?
Well, I think there's got to be something that they figure out, but you got to, I mean,
Fine them.
every sport, fine them. Every sport people wear.
Yeah. So Riley's done this a couple times.
Yeah, Riley had a mismatched uniform.
Paris it's the same. Well, actually, it's not even the same color. Sometimes it's different.
Yeah.
Different colors.
Yeah.
And I think there's even probably another one or two.
And
other
it's on the
players.
team's job to provide the proper uniforms for those players as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like the team has a responsibility as well.
Yeah.
To provide that. So yeah, I agree. You've got to be in matching uniforms. In fact, I'm pretty sure that in one of our matches, Rafa was not wearing the same color as the rest of the team.
Yeah. I think they need to be fined or something like that. And there's still other things too. Like there's a lot of loose ends with MLP. Like even going down to the hats, people wear different color hats, different branding of hats.
Different hats, sponsors. Yeah, I mean, I think it all needs to be the same.
Yeah.
And it's up to the teams to provide something that their players are comfortable wearing.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk Bears just for a second.
Bears, go Bears.
Bears had another call.
Rafa.
We had another call.
Same defendant.
Yeah. So obviously I was not there.
Okay. And
Brendan-
you're defending the call once again?
Brendan Long had an overhead.
Okay.
Okay. Flushed it past Rafa. I watched it live in real time. Okay. I
On the
watched
screen.
on the
You weren't
screen.
there live in
Yes.
real time.
And I could not tell if the ball was in or out. Okay. Now let me just be clear. I am not there. And the camera angle is behind. Just so you know, the camera angle is far side.
This is a good story.
No, I'm just
get
telling
your
you.
popcorn.
I'm just telling you, it's baseline far side from where the ball landed.
Okay.
So it's behind Brendan, far side.
On GS court.
On GS, yes. So they challenge, right?
Yep.
Brendan said it was in. They challenge. The referees uphold the call.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. Again, I don't know if they couldn't see it, and that's why they upheld it, or what the situation was.
Yeah.
Ironically, not ironically, maybe pickleball gods have a sense of humor. Yates Johnson was calling the match.
Oh, man. I didn't know he was calling it.
Yes, with Jesse.
Oh, good.
So finally I took out my phone. I slowed it down, paused it. The ball was clearly in.
Yeah.
Okay. Ball was in. It wasn't even.
I didn't know Yates was commenting.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. I did hear on the stream, I heard Brandon French say, "That's the hardest ball I've ever seen hit." Mm-hmm. Now, Brandon French didn't make the call. Mm-hmm. He said that's the hardest ball. And just to be clear, nobody on our bench made the call either this time. I think they all
They
learned
didn't overrule it?
They didn't overrule
Oh,
it. They
my
didn't
gosh.
see- I think
Everyone
they
is complicit.
They may, yeah.
Everyone
they may
is
have learned
complicit.
their lesson. I don't know. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know what was talked
Your
about.
whole management should be fired.
I don't know what they saw, but this is really my whole point in this, okay? Is the ball was in.
Okay.
It was it was.
So I just saw the screenshot. I didn't even see it on the live stream or in person.
I would say if this is the baseline, the ball landed about here.
It almost looked to be similar to Michelle's
It wasn't
call.
that bad. It wasn't even close. And it was a hard. It was it was hit. It was hit 3 times harder.
Okay.
Literally. But here's the problem that I have. They challenged it.
Yeah.
I was able to take my phone and literally look and find it in a matter of 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And they upheld the call. I'm so confused by that.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, so I've said this for a while, but I think refs, if they don't have enough evidence to overturn or uphold,
there's
call,
evidence.
They need to say not enough evidence, call in court stands, something like that.
Yeah.
But in this situation, there was enough evidence, so I don't know why they did.
Yeah, I guess I was just confused what angle they had or why, and I don't know. I guess I'll have to ask. But I mean, that ball. I mean, it literally took me, like I said, it took me less than 10 seconds, 15 seconds to freeze it, find it, pause it. I mean, and you can clearly see the ball bouncing. It's not like it's one of those ones where it skips frames.
Yeah.
And even if it skipped a frame, it still would have been in. Like,
did Rafa see the ball land, or was he just calling it out because he thought it was going out?
he was turning his head as he called it, and I'm pretty sure that he was just calling it out as he thought.
Has he not made a public apology yet?
No one's ever really talked about it. I think just because there's a replay system in place. But I mean, we played the Breakers, and we had 3 balls overturned against the Breakers. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jill called one that was way in against us, and we had it overturned.
Yeah.
Elise called one that on a freaking cross-court dink that landed probably 2 to 3 inches inside the line, not even on the line.
Let's burn everyone's integrity now.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is but they were overturned.
Yeah.
The point is they were all overturned, and so
there's no issues.
There's no issues because we had replay and we were able to see it.
But so the fact that they thought about calling those balls out.
Yes. So hopefully, September 1st ends all of this.
Hopefully.
That's the thing.
That's for PPA and MLP, correct?
I believe so, yes. Yep. I believe that once they have one, they're able to do both.
All right. Thank you for making it this far. Also, big shout out to our next sponsor of this show, Vulcan Pickleball.
Yeah.
Vulcan makes this incredible, lovely, bright colored ball, the Vulcan V Pro Flight Gen 2. It is in use and play at all the MLP and PPA tournaments.
PPAs. You want to play with a ball?
If you want to play with a ball
that the pros play with.
You have to use this one. You can get it at vulcansportinggoods.com. Use code KOTC. You can get it at pickleballcentral.com. Use code KOTC0824.
Yeah. 0824.
Exactly. If you want to support Vulcan more, go buy it from Vulcan's website. If you want to support Big Pickle more, go buy it from Big
Depends
Pickleball
on
Central.
who you're in.
Exactly.
So Tyler, 2 things, and then we can kind of get to questions here. Jack Sock. Why is Jack Sock so bad at MLP? What? Jack Sock was a top 10 tennis player?
For a brief moment of time,
For a brief moment.
Yeah.
But is he probably the most decorated, the highest rated tennis player to come over to pickleball?
For sure, yeah.
So why is he struggling so much? Now, we've heard all the time about all this, wait till the tennis players come and the D1 and this and that. They're all coming. They're here. I mean,
I just think they're different skills. We've talked about this before. They're different trades. They're different skill sets.
It's not the same, right?
It's not the same.
It is not the same, and it's not as easy as people think.
Also, he is mid-30s. A lot of people, he said he's just doing this for fun. And so, Jack Sock, 5 years ago, a little bit 50 pounds lighter? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a different story?
Yeah, but what about, there's even a guy like Will Howells who's as highly decorated as it gets in tennis. In terms of college tennis, right? 2-time All-American at Notre Dame, great college tennis player. And he's doing well, but he's not winning. He's not dominating.
Yeah.
Kate Fahey is not dominating. She's 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year.
She's new. I don't even know if she's been playing a full year.
I think she was played 3-5 or something. Someone said not too long, last summer or something. Yeah. But I guess my point is what. One question is what is the time frame? Because Elise Jones actually said to me once that it's 2 to 3 years.
I think it's tricky because if you're able to be Jack Sock and you get Ben Johns, Catherine Perrino, or all these other partners that are high level players, then I think you could do it in 1 to 2, maybe 3 years. If you're having to build from scratch, get new partners that are starting around you, around your skill level, then I think it's minimum of 3 years.
So
if you have that tennis background.
Colin's right.
What do you say?
You don't play with crappy players. You want to play with the good ones.
Of course you want to play with the good ones.
Yeah. It's just interesting because I think the transition has really been bad for him. It's been slow.
Yeah, he's been streaky. I feel like he got off to a hot start.
But he did play with
his first singles tournament in Mesa.
Yeah.
He beat Tyson.
Yeah.
He had some other good wins, and he does well in singles. But I thought him and Catherine would have done better than they did. Him and Schick has always been up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, the Schick choices, because Schick is really struggling with the breakers. Even though Jeff is the, what did Jill call him? MLP draft wizard. They did an entire podcast about how he's smarter than everybody. And
why in the world did they change up their team? They were literally top 3 in Challenger, and they dropped almost everybody from their team.
I think it's a good question, and I think that on paper, you think, okay, well, now I don't
care what it is on paper. If you've played 1 or 2 events and you come out as number 1, you don't need to change things up.
Yeah, I agree. I think
on paper, Hannah, I went and rewatched the the broadcast of our mixed doubles match. It had them 81% chance beating us.
Yeah,
on paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the breakers did that. They dropped PK and they picked up DJ, right? Who DJ is clearly not healthy.
He's been injured for the past 2 months.
So even if DJ is healthy now, he's rusty.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to take him time to get back. I think DJ's when we drafted him, I think he's a great player when he's fully healthy and playing.
Yeah.
And then they trade Glosman for Elise. Now they did get $100,000, so maybe it's maybe it's a money thing. And a lot of people went after Elise, and they weren't willing to part with her without getting more money. And then they go and get Jill, and they hire Jill's wife.
What are they? The Fab Five?
Yeah, Jill called it the Fab Five.
Okay.
And I mean, honestly, like Jill's challenge, like in this event, Jill and Elise are actually rated fairly high. But as a team, it's still a team event, right? And so as a team, Elise is 4-4 right now. And she is rated 5th. Jill's 12th, and she's 3-5. So Jill has a losing record, 3-5. They had a losing record, I believe, in Salt Lake as well. So that was their first event together. This is actually a good. So Jill's record, Jill is 6-9 right now for the breakers, the Fab Five, and Elise is. What did I say she was for this event?
3-5 or 4-4?
4-4. She went 2-4. So Jill is 6-8.
Okay.
And Elise finished basically second to last, only to DJ. In Salt Lake. So I mean, it's a really interesting situation. And like you said, they went from first place to now they're literally in. I think they've fallen all the way. I mean, they're falling fast. I mean, they lost again this morning. So
they lost 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. So I mean, it's a tough situation because they came into this event with the most amount of points and now they're just in their points per match is 1.3, which actually puts them in 8th out of 10.
Okay, moving on to our last sponsored segment of this show. It's Holy Performance. Holy was not out there at MLP, but had they been out there, everybody would have been taking their product and staying hydrated and getting a lot of energy. We love them. Holy Performance. Have you been taking their product, Jimmy?
Yeah, I actually take their product every day.
The Hydrate I like the Hydrate the best.
Yeah, so I take the pregame, and then I usually follow that up with the Hydrate. Okay. I really like the grape Hydrate, but that one's good too, the coconut lime.
Yep.
And then I have the postgame, which also is
how is that? I'm not lying. I haven't taken that one yet.
Postgame's great. So the postgame is also has your BCAAs and your glutamine and all of your post-workout things in there. And so, Holy is, I mean...
Everyone needs electrolytes, all those nutrients, especially when you're competing. Even if you're not competing, you need it if you're in hot areas.
I mean, take it from me. Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself, yep.
Take care of yourself.
Go check them out at holyperformance.com and use code KOTC to check them out. Yep.
Yeah. Go support us, please.
And they support pickleball. Yes. We love companies that support pickleball. Okay, moving on to questions. Do you want to do that first one or skip it? Did you see that?
Yeah. I'll ask. It says, why did Ivy quit pickleball? I don't know. Ivy Cheddar. She came to our combine. I've met Ivy, super sweet girl, really nice. I know she wanted to play some MLP. She texted me a couple times before the draft. She's young. She's only like 18.
Yeah,
19.
she's probably 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ton of potential. She released a statement, said she was retiring, said a couple things had happened. I know that like Pickle kind of sponsored her here and there. She's from Minnesota. She moved. I think she has a boyfriend now. I honestly don't know what happened. She did allude to some things.
She said that there were some instances or circumstances or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should have her on the show.
All right. Somebody said, let's see. How do we get that here?
Wish her the best of luck.
Why do women pickleball pros tuck the left side of their skirts into their liner? Several do this. I did notice that a little bit more this past weekend. I don't know why people do it.
Bro.
There's some guys that roll their shorts up a lot, and I think it's just...
Literally, you're asking the wrong person.
Come on, Jimmy.
I honestly have no idea.
Okay. Somebody said, did DJ's wrist heal quicker than expected?
He was back sooner than we thought. We didn't think he'd be back.
I don't think he's 100% yet, though.
Look, if his wrist is okay, he's still a little bit rusty because he's not playing like DJ.
Mm-hmm.
There's moments where you watch him, you're like, okay. I mean, we lost to him in mixed, and he played great.
Mm-hmm.
So there's moments out there, but yeah, the reality of it is he's a good player when he's healthy, and if he is healthy right now, he's not. He's probably still a little bit rusty, but he'll get back, dude. DJ's too good to. Yeah.
Riley switched paddles again. So last week he was using Paddle Tech, which is owned by ProXR, and then this week he was using ProXR.
Yeah, the parent company of ProXR. Yeah, I wonder if he did it for indoors.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, somebody said, is there internal issues at Carolina? Ben played well with Seattle Pioneers.
I think there's internal issues just because Ben doesn't love MLP, but it's also, I know this sounds really funny, but it's also easier to like not play hard and share your emotions with one, you're a family member, and two, close friends. He's close friends with Jesse, and he has his brother. So if Ben really he doesn't for Seattle, he had you and Megan and Etta. He's going to play hard because he doesn't really want to let you guys down. But for them, it's like he can air his grievances to them and be his true self almost in a way.
That's an interesting perspective. All right, somebody said, so there's quite a few questions about your reaction, your thoughts on Colin's criticisms or the letter. Yeah. We addressed most of those. Somebody said, PPA, top 5 most beautiful women.
In the PPA?
In the PPA. Who are they, Jimmy?
Gosh, I don't want to touch that one either. To be honest, I think
everyone is beautiful.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of very, very attractive female pickleball players.
What about male players?
Yeah, there's a lot of very, very attractive male pickleball players as well. Like pickleball it's not bad.
All right, are there any good female trash talkers, or do they all just yell "yeah" at each other?
I think AB is decent.
She's better off court. She doesn't do much on court except for scream "yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jill
might talk a little bit.
If you want to talk about people that are talking that actually will freaking get personal, Jill.
Yeah.
Lucy is pretty good.
Yeah.
The one thing that Lucy does is the way out, which always makes me laugh. Mm-hmm. And she only usually does it with the waters, but Lucy's not bad. But most of the time it's finger wags. It's way out. It's minor things.
Yeah.
Where the men they'll chirp and chirp and chirp.
Who leaked the Colin rant? Rattlesnake alluded to the ex-girlfriend. Give us the details.
So that's another fact, is that it was not the ex-girlfriend that leaked it. Literally, and just to be clear, the powers that be have been able to verify that it was not the ex-girlfriend that leaked it. So,
seeing Alshon Newman partnering up, does that team win a PPA gold? C or no?
Yeah, I think they could.
They could. I don't think it's
not a shoo-in, but it depends on how much Riley's playing too. Peak Riley, yes.
Did you like Riley's little Instagram post, a little dig at Colin?
Yeah. So Riley and Colin, as if people don't know, they do not get along.
Why do they not get along? Somebody asked that. They said, we know there's beef, but why?
Yeah, I don't even know. I
I
think it's chirp. I really think it's the talking, it's the chirping, and they're very, very different in how they approach the game too.
Yep.
I mean, Riley has been honest. The money matters to him. But I guess Colin's proving it too. Colin's a lot closer to Riley than he thinks.
Jimmy, thoughts on Julian calling you out? So to clarify, Julian didn't really call Jimmy out. So Julian made a statement, and he said somebody and he was referring to a Jimmy Miller character.
Yeah.
As in he's media.
Yeah, he didn't. And this is the problem: is a lot of people have reading comprehension issues, and they don't read things thoroughly because he said me, and I actually got a text from somebody inside of MLP, I'll say, and they were like. And they literally said, you were the one that leaked it?
Yeah, Jim Kloss messaged me too asking that.
And they said, you leaked it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, go read his post. And they're like, well, why is Julian saying you leaked it? Yeah. I said, again, read his post. It says a Jimmy Miller-like person. Yeah. It doesn't say me. So I don't have any issue with it. Just tag me next time, Julian. And I addressed it, and I weighed in. And the best part was I weighed in, and then all these people were like going off about stuff that they have no clue about. And then they were like trying to argue, and it was a mess. So in the end, I think we do move on from it. You brought up a lot of good points, and hopefully Colin and Ben, I think they play New York as their next event.
That's the next one.
So hopefully we see an A for effort.
No, hopefully not, because I think we play them.
Okay, well then hopefully after you play them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, the City Pickle is not going to be perfect, and City Pickle is going to be hot, and City Pickle is going to be humid.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have permanent courts now.
I think they do.
Because they didn't before. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I think they do.
We'll see how they enjoy playing there. I mean, it's one of the more iconic locations in all the world, so hopefully they're happy with it.
All right, last few questions. Is there room for pros to try to put even more spin on serves, or do serve rules make it too hard? Honestly, most of the courts, unless you're on championship court, are too constrained. They're too restricted in the size. And so, one of the main reasons for, there's a lot, but one of the reasons for the Zane Saw going away was the court dimensions.
Yeah.
You have 5 feet to the fence, for most tournament matches, that's not good.
There's just not enough room to even return something like that to make it fair, right?
All right, let's see. All right, last 2 questions. Which affects your practice more? Who your partner is, or who your opponents are?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I would say who your opponents are, because that's who you're playing, who you'll get more balls with.
Yeah, is
that valid?
Yeah, I would say that it's probably, I'd almost maybe call it 50-50.
Yeah.
Because obviously your opponents are going to have tendencies, and they're going to have weaknesses and strengths and things that you're going to need to stay away from. And then your partner obviously is going to have strengths and weaknesses as well. So you kind of got to mesh the two together and decide what works best.
All right. Somebody said, do you like good, fun player-fan interaction? Yeah, I think almost every pro would like good, fun player interaction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best. I love it.
When the fans start getting hostile and start going a little bit too far, that's when it gets a little bit.
Kyle McKenzie's buddy.
Exactly. No, that was fun. That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah.
There's 2 things, Tyler, just to have a little bit of a life lesson here. There's 2 things.
Heart to heart.
2 things that I tell these boys that I coach in football.
Okay, let's hear it.
There's only 2 things that you can control. We can't control the temperature. We can't control the referees.
Taxes.
We can't control our opponents.
Mm-hmm.
We can't control trash talk. None of those things. But you know what you can control, Tyler?
Your performance.
Your attitude and your effort.
Boom.
So just words to live by.
There we go, Jimmy. All right, anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's it. PPA Kansas City right after MLP.
Yep.
So
the next 4 or 5 weeks are go, 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 go. We have PPA PPA Kansas City.
Yeah.
Next week is Tennessee, Bristol.
And then Salt Lake.
The week after that is Salt Lake. The week after that is Vegas.
Yeah.
And that one's going to be sweet. And then I think
New York
is after that.
Yeah. Crazy. Busy.
Yeah.
We don't play until Virginia Beach, end of September now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we have some time off, but we've also played 3 weeks in a row, it feels like. So
Okay. Awesome. If you've made it this far, please do us a big favor. We are close to 1 million subs. It would do us a really big favor to hit that like and subscribe button.
We're close to 1 million?
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah. So you could be the millionth subscriber.
If you're the millionth subscriber, Mr. Beast will buy you something nice.
All right. Thanks. Have a great week. We will see you next time.